100%. Jane is the kind of person that whenever someone takes like a bow that has tape on it off, Jane will take that bow and put it on Rochester's head. So he now has like 10 bows taped to his head.
And she also folds up the wrapping paper to use again next year.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Happy Festivus to you, Lillian. How's it going?
Oh, happy Festivus to you. It's going so good. I'm feeling very like in the spirit of the holidays today.
I mean, I know we're projecting into the future, but make believe your answer for this one. Did you get all the presents you wanted?
Yeah, because I already got the one present that I for sure wanted, which was the t-shirt that I'm wearing from 1P Clevey.
Oh boy. Well, people listening obviously cannot see into our podcast studio, but Lillian and I are currently wearing our very own Earbuds merch. We've got these t-shirts. It was my gift to Lillian. And who knows, maybe in the future, you all can have a shirt of your own, and then we can all be a t-shirt club.
That would be fun. Oh, I like that. But I guess I spend sometimes my holidays wondering, what would Jane Eyre and those silly little kooks over there in that book be up to for Christmas?
You know, that's a great question, Lillian. Literally last night, Sam and I watched the Downton Abbey Christmas special, and there are quite a few classics that have Christmas specials. I feel like Star Wars is famous for its Christmas special. Downton Abbey Christmas special, obviously a classic, but what about a Jane Eyre Christmas special?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like the tone of Jane Eyre and the tone of Christmas specials don't really mesh. Those people are wrong.
They're so wrong. Because if a bunch of weirdos can really get into that weird Star Wars Christmas thing, then all of us Jane Eyre fanatics, we can gladly play a little game involving our favorite Jane Eyre characters at the holidays.
I also feel like it falls squarely into an Airbud zone. Like, Airbuds answers the question of what if Jane Eyre? But
Lillian has created a game for us today.
Yes, I have.
I now, just because I feel the creative urge to do so, I'm going to set up the visuals of this Christmas special.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So it's Christmas at Thornfield, and there's a big blizzard, and the entire cast of Jane Eyre, who's come over to Thornfield to celebrate with the Rochesters. Oh no, a blizzard has now snowed them all in. And what do they have to do? Because everyone's sick of playing Rochester's freaking charades for the 5,000th time. And he's like, okay, how about dress up? And they're all like, no, you've done that already. So instead, we're going to maybe do some gift exchanges.
Rochester fully has dressed up as Santa 3 times and not even Adele believes him anymore.
Well, the second time he came in as Mrs. Claus, and they're like, dude, I guess you do you, man. If it makes you happy, sure.
So the game that we are going to be playing is, if you guys have ever done when I worked in offices, we did this a lot. It's Secret Santa, which is a pretty classic Christmas game. So everybody, I have all of our Jane Eyre characters, and we will go through who that is. I did cut the line at some points, but we'll see. So I included some people that I think will be a fun surprise. And
the old innkeeper who tells her the tale.
I will, spoiler, the innkeeper's not in here.
Oh, man. He would have given the best present, a lengthy explanation.
So we're going to go through, and each person is going to draw a name. So, for example, if we start with Jane and Jane drew Rochester, Jane has to get Rochester a gift. And then Rochester is going to pick a name. And then whoever Rochester picks, he has to get a gift for them. And we are going to, with all of our knowledge and Jane Eyre wisdom, tell you what that would be with 100% finality and certainty.
Oh, 100%. Although we get 2 presents for each person because Lillian will give an answer and I will give an answer. So,
wow. I guess I was going to just argue with you until I was right, but whatever.
Lillian, this is not the season for Kmart parking lots.
That's a great point. This is the season for caring and double gifts.
Yes, exactly. 2 presents for everyone.
But I have very explicitly, other than practicing with the thing to make sure that it works, not picked all of the names yet. I do not know who got what. I have not thought this through at all. So we're going to be thinking it through here on air.
Well, exactly. It's got to be spontaneous. Otherwise, that kind of cheats. So good for you for not cheating, Lillian.
Yeah. So our very first person who drew our very first name is the person who organized it. When I put the thing together, I had to put in a name of the organizer. And so I picked Jane Eyre.
Nice.
So Jane is going to start us off. And she picked one Mrs. Fairfax.
Oh, okay.
What would Jane get from Mrs. Fairfax, Piper?
Well, let's see. I think Jane is a very giving person. I don't think she would like know Mrs. Fairfax and kind of know what she's into. And I think because Mrs. Fairfax is such a sweet little bean who seems very content to kind of just like sit and crochet, maybe she would have put together like an artful little basket, like a gift basket that has
Cute.
like sewing materials, maybe some like new like needles and like threads and fabric that she can work with. I think also because I'm now picturing Jane being the same kind of gift giver as my soon-to-be mother-in-law, who is a very crafty lady. And by that, I mean in the artistic sense, not in the scheming sense. And she, being a wonderful artist, I think would also have painted a portrait or drawn a portrait of Mrs. Fairfax. And that beautiful little piece of art is also tucked into this lovely gift basket that I think she presents to Mrs. Fairfax on Christmas.
I also feel like how that resonates for me for one other reason, which is Jane is also the kind of person who, now that she has money, blows off the gift limit. So like they said $20 and she spent like $200. Like she just like, she like made a she goes, the portrait doesn't count because I made that. So it doesn't count as any money. So I only spent $100 on the basket and then another $100. But yeah, I immediately thought like nice knitting needles, nice yarn, like something for Mrs. Fairfax to do like really nice versions of the stuff she likes to make.
Yeah, because I think, I feel like there's some people, and we'll probably talk about this when the time comes, there's some people who give gifts for others where they think to themselves, this is what this person actually wants. And there are some people who give gifts and they say to themselves, I'm like, oh no, I want this, so probably you want it too. And I will be definitely referencing that when certain people do their gift giving.
So I think we've done Mrs. Fairfax. Now, who does Mrs. Fairfax get? Oh my God. Mrs. Fairfax got Mr. Broccoli.
Oh boy. Okay. So now, question. Are we going off the idea that even if characters have not met one another in the story, do we go off the idea that they have some idea about this other person? Or are we just simply role-playing this as like she's giving a gift to a stranger?
I think she is giving a gift to somebody who she knows of. Okay. If not like knows him super. They're not like, we're not pretending they're best friends, but they do know each other and they know what the other person likes. Because if we don't do that, this is going to get pretty wild.
All right. Well, I kind of gave my answer first. So you give your first answer for this one.
Okay. I feel like Mrs. Fairfax, even though I don't think she would like broccoli. Like I think she would know from Jane that he was not a good person. She would still like, she's the kind of person where it's like, well, but for the gift exchange, we have good Christian hearts and we're going to get him a good thing. So she would like make him a scarf or like make a nice shirt, like whatever it is that like, or maybe like embroider on like some tea towels or something. Like she would do something cute for him, like little homemade gift.
With that idea, I love the idea that like she gives him, like a hand towel that says like, bless this mess or something. Like embroidered, like some kind of like current, like live, laugh, love sort of a thing. Cause she thinks in her cute little grandma way that it's like really cute. And he's like, oh boy, I'll just give this to my wife. Thanks.
Or something with like, what is like some super Christian saying that is absolutely passive aggressive about the fact that he's not generous enough. So it's something about like charity and how you should actually be really generous, or like it's harder to get a camel through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven. Like something like really passive aggressive like that.
That would be intense. Or we could also fall back on what we learned from last week's episode, the family that prays together stays together.
Oh my God.
Just sew that into a pillow and give it to Brocklehurst and he'd be like, oh my God, I so agree.
Fully hilarious. Yes. Okay. That's ideal. I think we've got it. So Broccoli
Yes.
gets this handmade gift from Mrs. Fairfax. Frankly, I think even if it said something like that, like even if it said something passive aggressive that was a message at him, he wouldn't pick up on it because he's not going to learn.
No, absolutely not. In fact, I think he would look at it and be like, oh, well, my wife is actually a fabulous sewer and she could do 10 times better than this. And my children are gifted at all these things and blah, blah, blah. And it'd be like, dude, just accept the present. Just shut up. Why are you the worst?
So then after he finishes that, he has to give his gift to somebody. So who's Mr. Broccoli going to draw? He got Miss Temple.
Okay, so his employee, I want to say a full-on Scrooge moment, and he gives her like a little bundle that has like maybe 3 pieces of coal in it because it's really cold to like heat her classroom. He doesn't give her a full bucket of coal to like help her really stout the fire because he's Scroogey and stingy. So I think he gives her like 3 little pieces of coal, and he's like, I know a teacher who would be super grateful for 1 piece of coal, and I gave you 3. So be grateful. Thank you for working for me, I suppose.
I agree but I think he would not be intentionally stingy. I think he would give something that he thought was super generous. So like he would get her bread and cheese. Like as like a passive aggressive message about the fact that she keeps giving these like she goes, he's like, this is a luxury. Bread and cheese is a luxury. And Miss Temple's for sure sharing that with the kids.
Oh, 100%. Although he would, if he gave her bread and cheese, it would come with a little note that says, just for you, don't give it to the children. We must punish the body to like purify the mind or whatever.
Yeah.
And she would be like, just burn that card.
The other idea I have is like either the bread and cheese thing or like some baked good that is like not good. Like, I don't know that this would fit in that, but like, I'm thinking like a fruit cake or something like something that like people do not enjoy, but for some reason everybody gets at Christmas, and he like made someone else make it for him. And he gave it to her.
Either his wife made like a horrible fruit cake that's like so like rock hard you can't cut it, or someone gifted him a fruit cake and he re-gifts it to Miss Temple because he totally would.
Yes. Oh my God. Absolutely.
He probably also baked a Bible into the cake. So
For
when
sure.
she like bites in, she gets a little bit of holiness.
And it comes like on the note that says just like, do not share. This is just for you. He also put a Bible passage that is very long.
Yes.
And very skewed. And fully taken out of context in a way that he thinks makes him the good guy.
Yes.
But really makes him look like an asshole.
And if he did that, he would have like stood there and like given her the card, and she would have glanced at it and been like, oh, thanks. And he's like, no, read it. And she'd start to read it and be like, I'll finish it later. And he's like, no, read the whole thing out loud.
Out loud
right now.
for the whole group.
Yes. He'd be like, read the whole card. And then he would be like, everyone, let's pass the card around so everyone can read it themselves. Lillian, did you have a family who did the once you open a gift you have to pass it, or was that not your family? Because that was mine for sure.
We did it sometimes. We definitely did that with like birthday cards. Like if you got a birthday card, you had to pass it around. And 9 times out of 10, it was a card that said happy birthday on the front. And then you opened it up and it said, love, Grandma. Like that was
like,
all the cards.
Why are we passing this? When I was growing up, and we do like big family gift exchanges at Christmas time, like someone could open a pair of socks and they'd be like, thank you for these. And they'd go to set it down. And my aunt or something would be like, hey, pass those around. I need to examine those socks. And we'd have to pass every present around the room. It was a whole ordeal. Thankfully, we don't really do that anymore.
That's incredible. Yeah, my family still like will make somebody, we call it elfing, where they are the person in charge of running around and grabbing the presents and handing them out to people. But because we don't have little kids around in our house anymore, we're not as into like, let's draw the present opening out for 6 hours.
Yeah, totally. Alrighty. So who does Miss Temple give a gift to?
Miss Temple gets Adele.
Cute. Oh, and she's like so good with kids and stuff that okay, I think I answered broccoli first. So you go. I think tell me yours first.
I think for Adele, she would like know that Adele liked fancy things. Like she would know that about her, but she also doesn't have a lot of money. So she would get her something like fun and pretty that Adele would really like, but wouldn't be super expensive. So I imagine her getting like a fancy ribbon that she puts around like a little stuffed dog that she made or something like that. Like where it's like some combination of like pretty, but also like for a little kid. Like maybe she knows that Adele has this doll, and so she makes her a little outfit for her doll or something like that.
Cute. I can also see, since yes, Miss Temple doesn't have a lot of money, maybe in the time that she's spent over this like holiday weekend hanging out with them, she can tell that Adele loves kind of like showing off and like being the center of attention. So maybe I can also see her gift to Adele being like, oh, I'm going to play this song on the piano and then you can sing and dance for all of us. And I think Adele would love that and be like, I'll be your accompaniment. I can never say that word. Our fellow who plays the guitar.
It's accompaniment is the actual like music, but it's the
accompanist. Something like that.
If we're wrong, let it go, guys.
Yes. And
there's lots of things we want corrections on. We're doing our best. This is our fun Christmas episode.
Anyway, it's time for little Adele to give a present.
So who does Adele
or her
get?
Cadeau?
I don't know if you saw, because you can see my screen now. Adele was one of my practice draws to make sure the system worked. So I don't know if you saw already who it is, but I'm going to close this window and then you're going to tell our listeners who it is that Adele has drawn.
Okay. Ooh, Adele gets Bertha, the woman she shares a house with, but hopefully has never met. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I feel like in my experience, when like kids have to give presents to adults and, you know, you go and you ask your parents, you're like, what should I give to this person? You tend to kind of like list off things, generic things that person likes. And they're like, well, she likes burning things, but we're not going to go there. Running around on all fours. She longs for freedom.
Adele sets Bertha free for Christmas.
Yes! Adele goes and sneaks the keys to go let her out. Amazing.
Oh my God.
You know what? Maybe Adele would like go and pick some flowers from the garden or something. Although it's winter time, so let's pretend that Thornfield has a greenhouse. And I think Adele would go and create a beautiful bouquet and bring it up to Bertha, and with extreme parental supervision, they're like, okay, now place the flowers on the floor. All right, say Merry Christmas, and we're backing out of the room now. Goodbye. That's what I picture.
I think that's fantastic. I think if Adele is not given a budget, I absolutely believe that. But I also feel like Adele is the kind of person who like convinces Rochester and Jane to give her a wild amount of money to buy Christmas gifts. Like she seems like the kind of kid who loves to shop as much as she loves to have stuff. And she assumes everyone wants fancy things like her. And I feel like there's also a world in which Jane and Rochester like do tell Adele about Bertha, but the way they do it is like, well, so she used to be a good friend of Daddy's, and then she is now a little sick, so she stays in the attic up there. But she liked fancy things. She liked partying. Her favorite color was red. And so Adele like buys her like a super fancy like silk scarf or something, like something wildly outside of the range they're supposed to be spending on this. Like a red scarf that she bought at the store that was like way too expensive, but Adele like fully threw a fit about it until they bought it.
Cute. Well, if it's like the 2006, then it's another scarf that Bertha can wave out her window.
Exactly.
Maybe Adele has like seen her up there waving her scarves and stuff, and she's like, "It's my spooky friend upstairs."
Yeah,
she likes scarves. I'll get her more of those.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Okay, who does Bertha get? Here we go. She's gonna make her wish list later.
Her wish list: access to fire, freedom. Oh, she got her brother. Oh my God. Her gift to him is a knife in the gut. She's gonna be like, I get to successfully kill him this time. That's my present. Round 2.
So similarly, I imagine like Bertha fully working with Grace Poole to make her gift for Richard. They don't let her out to go shopping. So she's like, let's bake him his favorite cupcakes in the meantime, she's fully stolen rat poison and did put poison like in the cupcakes. And Richard gets them and is like, oh my God, thank you so much. And Rochester goes, don't eat that. God, you're an idiot.
He's like, every time you come here, you walk right into her trap.
She has lost her mind and wants you dead.
But we still included her in this game because we love her. I also can picture, not that she would be able to get access to one of these, but like she has his present is like a gift bag and he reaches in and just there's a snap. He's like, ow! And there's like a mousetrap inside. And she's there laughing like a maniac. And like Adele is laughing with her. Shane is like holding back her giggles. Funny. Yeah.
And Rochester's like, if you could stop. Like Adele is laughing at Rochester's reaction, right? And he's just like, if you could stop being an idiot for 15 seconds, Mason. My God, Dick, please try to use your head. I know it's mostly empty, but 2 brain cells, my God.
And then once he's done chastising him, he will look at Bertha and I think they'll do a little fist bump. He's like, pretty funny though. He's like, okay, now put her back in the straitjacket.
They like let her out so she can hand over her gift.
Yes. It's
Poor
so
Bertha.
good. They're like, just let her go hang out at the snack table. She's just like face down in the pudding. Like, nom.
Let's see who Richard gets.
Once he puts some ice on his wounded little hand and spits out his poison cupcakes.
He draws his name. He drew his name. And he gets Jane!
Oh, boy!
What would Richard get Jane?
Alrighty. You go first. I think yeah.
You were so excited about it being Richard. I have no idea who was supposed to go first last time, but you were like, she's gonna kill him. Yeah. Sure.
Merry Christmas, you dick. Stab.
I feel like he would have knowing he was traveling there for Christmas and feeling kind of bad about that time that he did interrupt her wedding, like show up and just be like, hey, like I brought some like really nice wine, or like, what is the rum? Would it be rum that he would have there? Like some delicacy.
Like Caribbean rum?
Yeah. Or like some candy or something, like something that you can only get in the Caribbean that you can't get in the UK. And he like, again, similarly, like way overspent beyond the budget because he feels so bad. And he also knows that Rochester did buy Jane everything in the entire country of England for Christmas. So he's like, I need something that she can't get there, because if she wants something there, Rochester already got it for her.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. It would be a cool exotic present. I think he also probably would have written a handwritten note that says, hey, sorry about interrupting your first wedding. I kind of had to, though. Like, I'm a bad brother, but at least I'm going to try and prevent bigamy. I don't know. So
he's like, listen, I didn't know what I was doing. I just did a casual conversation. I don't know. And I feel like they would also talk a lot about, because he knew her uncle, like he met her uncle through a series of circumstances. So he would also like be like, hey, also here's some stories about your uncle.
Yeah. Well, her uncle lived in Madeira, where they make the wine. So maybe he also brought some rum from the Caribbean, but then also some Madeira wine as well. I think also probably he would have bought like 1,000 sweaters for himself to make this trip to this cold place. And so maybe he's like, oh, it's so freaking cold there. I bet everyone needs more like hats and scarves. So maybe that too.
That's amazing. I love that. That's perfect.
So since he got Jane, how do we jump into other people's?
I'm thinking we'll go with Rochester, because we've now completed the circle and we're not going to go back and figure out who Jane got, which was Mrs. Fairfax, and then do everybody again. That will just be in an endless loop for eternity.
And we can't do that.
But we all know Rochester's in here. So I think Rochester like realizes this is happening and takes over and says, well, I'll give my gift now, because he loves giving a gift.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And everyone's like, oh, this is going to take the next 5 hours.
He also for sure is going to like blow the...
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Okay. I have so many ideas about this.
St. John Rivers.
Okay, so in his fantasy, he gets to punch him in the face because he's like, "How dare you try and marry my Jane?" But in reality, I think what Rochester would do is he would try and like embarrass St. John. Because St. John, I think, has this whole, like, we've talked about, like, he's got this chip on his shoulder that he doesn't have, like, money and status and stuff. I think Rochester would come in and be like, I have written you an insanely large check, and I'm going to be now funding your own missionary. It is the Rochester missionary, which you will run. My image is on the wall. Like, I think he would be like, he's like, I'm being so generous. Look how I'm taking care of you. And he'd be like, he's like, oh, yes, I guess technically this is good, but it would really be him like rubbing things in his face. That's kind of what I see.
Oh my God, that's incredible. I fully agree that I think Rochester would want to like punch this dude in the face, but Jane keeps talking about him like it's her brother, and like she doesn't see the issue. Rochester's like losing his mind, and Jane is just like, could you please, like, we have 2 kids, man. Like, calm down. He ends up going, okay, I'm going to get him something that is very much about, please get out of the country. I would love for you to not be in the country anymore. So he gets him like books about like how to survive in India, like how to like cool to off the beaten path destinations, when like one of those like tourism books that's like, where can you go that is definitely going to get you a disease if you're a white boy coming to destroy our country. Like, I don't think he's very on board with missionary work just from his whole vibe. Yeah. So I imagine him being like, here's like how to see the real India. Like, here's like, he's like trying to teach St. John to go travel, knowing that it'll probably kill him.
He bought him tickets on a steamer that's headed to Antarctica, and he's like, go convert some penguins. We'll see you never. He's like, oh, thank you, but it is storm season. He's like, oh, your boat's leaving in 5 minutes. Gotta go. Get out there.
Listen, this is what God told me he wanted. So yeah. I have a direct line just like you. And obviously this is God sending a message to you. You better listen.
Yeah, so better leave now. I know it's a blizzard, but you can do it. God will take you there. See you later.
It's going to be fine and great. And if you don't go, it's because you don't trust God.
Please leave. Also, I know I'm now speaking through Rochester's voice, where he's like, I know that I'm only supposed to give a gift to my Secret Santa, but I also have this mountain of presents for my beautiful wife, which we will now watch her open one by one. And she's like, later, Rochester. Not right now. And then
Adele just starts she goes, Adele, you can go ahead and do it. And Adele just starts like ripping every gift open and throwing like all the jewelry in the world. Like every diamond necklace she pulls out, Adele just puts on, and they're clearly for an adult woman.
Also, 100%, Jane is the kind of person that whenever someone takes, like, a bow that has tape on it off, Jane will take that bow and put it on Rochester's head, so he now has, like, 10 bows taped to his head.
And she also folds up the wrapping paper to use again next year.
Yes.
Oh, my God. And I think I also picture her, like, those moms who just sit and drink coffee and they don't expect any presents, but, like, all the diamonds and all the stuff Rochester gets her, she's like, whatever. And then like somebody gets her a really nice book and she cries.
Yeah. And then Rochester's writing down in a little notepad, he's like, next year, get her books, 1,000 books.
And buys a full library.
Yes. Oh.
Just pulls a Beauty and the Beast. Oh Cute. My God. Okay. Who does St. John get?
Cute.
Who
Okay.
did St. John get, Piper?
He got Pilot the dog.
Yay.
All right, your turn to take the lead on this one.
I think St. John goes simple and just gets him like, first of all, I fully think he tried to get him a stick. And Jane went, I don't care that he's the dog. Get him a real gift. So he got him like an old soup bone or something, like something that's been used and is trash now, but is something a dog would love.
I can also see St. John tries to like tell a lengthy story around how he acquired the bone, because it has to do with him being like, well, after I had resuscitated 5 babies in India, this old woman presented me with the bone, and it's the sacred bone that I'm now giving to this dog. In reality, this lady was like, I don't know, handing him some trash. And he's like, oh yes, your ancient customs, I see. And they're like, everyone's like, oh my God, you're so racist. Please stop talking.
So embarrassing. You were there for 4 months. You don't have an accent now. You aren't shocked. Like every time he takes a bite of food, he goes, I guess it's just like really bland here now. And it's like, but we know that he just had like unbelievable diarrhea the whole time he was there.
Yes. Also, they're like, St. it's not a tan, it's a sunburn.
He's just like fully tomato red, obviously in pain.
Yes.
Just trying to tell everyone he's sun-kissed.
Oh my God. And I think like he's got like a huge sunburn on his back, and Rochester keeps like smacking him on the shoulder, and he's like, ow, 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 ow. And he's like, sorry, old boy, I forgot.
But he won't admit that he's in pain about it. Actually, like you can tell on his face he's in a great deal of pain, but Rochester just thinks it's super funny. And Dick, for the first time in his life, is inside on an inside joke.
Yes. Oh my God. He like stands close to Rochester. He's like, good one. And he's like, yeah, okay, we'll give you some space here, Dick.
Please, I would actually rather no one was here. Jane wanted to host you guys. I thought this was a terrible idea.
Amazing.
Oh my God. Okay, who does Pilot get?
I love that this is literally like, you must have created emails for everyone.
No, I didn't. I put all of them as our Airbuds email. So we genuinely, for like 10 minutes, we were getting emails from this gift exchange thing.
Oh my God. What you guys can't see is that Lillian has to keep going into her email to open up the email that John Reed would have received to like see what their present is.
This is the email that Pilot received telling him that he has John Reed.
John Reed.
So what would Pilot get for John Reed?
Easily, it's like a dead rabbit. That Pilot has mostly. He did the thing after he caught it where he shook it to pieces. So there's not much rabbit left. It's kind of just like a bloody lump with some fur. So he like trots in and drops that on John Reed's very fancy shoes, and getting like rabbit guts all over his beautiful, expensive Louis Vuitton loafers.
But they're knockoffs because he fully did sell the real shoes for gambling money. And so these are just like shoes that he took the label and put it on.
Yes, 100%.
Similarly, except without the dead animal, I think that he found like he spent a long time looking for a very good stick and gives this man what he thinks is the best stick. And it is muddy and covered in literal shit. And he gives it to John Reed, super proud. And then Jane like yells at John Reed to be nice to the dog who spent a really long time picking out the stick for him.
I can also see Pilot brings this stick or dead rabbit over to John, gives it to him, and then John goes to pick it up, and then the dog instantly goes grrr and takes it back. It's like I gave it to you for 5 seconds, but it's still mine. It's
he's like, I thought that was a gift. And she goes, and Jane's like, you wanted a shit covered stick? And he's like, I don't know how to do this. Just like constantly in trouble, and then is planning on asking Rochester for money, so he's trying to be nice.
Oh, 100%. He's practiced his like elevator pitch for his stupid pyramid scheme, like the entire carriage ride over to Thornfield, and his cousins are like, oh my God, or his sisters or whatever, they're like, stop it, like this isn't going to work. And he's like, no, you see, because if he buys it from me, then I get to like sell it from this other person. It's genius.
Listen, it's so everybody wins. He's gonna be his own boss. He's gonna love it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So John Reed draws Helen Burns.
Oh no, poor Helen. Oh, okay. I think you're going first on this one.
John would absolutely ask his mom for the $20 for the present. And then he would not like think that he's going to double it. Like think that like, I'm going to double it and then I'm going to split my winnings with Helen and I'm going to get her an even nicer gift. And then he immediately loses all the money. Yes. He has no talents to make a craft. So he does like fully like trades, like find some of his old clothes or something that could be for a woman. So she gets like men's gloves or like an old scarf, like something that is like everybody in the room knows was John's that he is just regifting.
Oh, for sure. I can even see that like he completely forgot about this gift exchange last minute. And so he's at his mom's house and they're about to get in the carriage. He's been too busy practicing his elevator pitch for his pyramid scheme. And I think he literally probably just goes and steals something from his mother, like takes like one of her like bracelets or something. So when Helen opens it, it's first of all definitely like not her kind of thing. She wouldn't wear something so glitzy, but she's being very nice and sweet. But he looks over at his mom and she's glaring at him because she's like, that's fucking mine. Like you just like stole my thing and gave it to this girl. That's kind of also what I see.
She's kind of glaring, but she mostly just like doesn't really pay attention, and then later sees Helen wearing it and is like, that little orphan bitch stole my bracelet.
Oh, for sure.
Oh
yes.
my God. Like doesn't even notice that it was totally John's fault.
Amazing. And it causes a whole big drama thing and they're never invited to Christmas again.
And Rochester and Jane like that night in bed. And he's like, honestly, I don't know why I invited them in the first place. I wanted to not invite them. And she's like, you wanted to not invite anyone.
You wanted to bar up the house and like take me off to Hawaii again, which yes, I love, but we need to be home at some point. I know family sucks, but they're still family.
So then Helen gets Rochester.
Cute. Oh my gosh.
What would Helen get him?
This is a hard one because like I feel like Helen, I don't think she would give like a religious present, even though she herself is like very like spiritual and everything. She also doesn't seem to have much. And also I'm living in the fantasy that she did not die as a child.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Yeah, she's like now a grown lady. So I don't know. I can see her maybe having like created something. I don't know if she wouldn't be as like artistic as Jane. So I think she wouldn't have dared to like draw something because she's like, oh, it would be nothing compared to what Jane could do. So maybe she simply like, I don't know, made him some socks. Like just like a simple thing.
Your idea is like fully triggering for me. Like I think that she would go down this thought path of like, I should make him something, but I can draw, but not as well as Jane. And he's like, not going to like it as much as Jane. He's like, what does Rochester care about? All I know he cares about is Jane. Oh my God, this is perfect. I'll write stories about Jane from when we were kids. And then
cute.
give him like a little book of like stories about Jane when she was a kid. And I can see like him getting that and fully bursting into tears.
Oh, of course. He would be obsessed with that. He would then also like later pull Helen aside anytime that like Jane won't like is busy with somebody else. He'd be like, tell me more about my little Jane. Tell me about my little bird. What was she like when she was a kid? And she'd be like, okay, yeah. Cute.
And like Rochester now insists on Helen living with them. Like he's like, I don't know why she hasn't lived with us before. Oh, she says it's not for her place. I don't care. This is my sister now. She lives here with us.
Or I can see if Helen had like grown up, she probably would have been like a school teacher or something. And I think Rochester would be like, I'm going to become your benefactor. When you get home, you don't know it yet, but there's a whole schoolhouse that's now yours. I'm funding all of this. Just keep being great.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Well, we found ourselves in another circle. There's not that many names left. So let's see how the rest of this goes.
Nice.
The next person we're going to go with is Blanche.
Awesome.
So who does Blanche get?
I think everyone would be like kind of chatting over the recent presents and Blanche would kind of stand up and be like, well, I can give my present now. Pay attention to me. And everyone's like, Jesus, okay, fine.
And then Blanche gets Bessie.
All right. I kind of started with the last one. So you take the lead on this one.
I feel like Blanche would like not understand why a servant was being included in this. She would be like sort of upset about it. And even though she's been told things about Bessie specifically, all she thinks about is the fact that this is a servant. So she's like, what does a servant need? Maybe I'll get her like another apron exactly like her uniform apron, or like, here's like literally a way to do your job more. Like not like just like something that is like exactly $20 that is only helpful to her for work reasons.
I see a very similar thing. I think her gift would be presented in like the most elegant box with the most beautiful bow. But when she opens it up, it's literally just like Windex, some sanitary wipes, a sponge, like cleaning utensils.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like, and like maybe some like rubber gloves to wear while she's scrubbing the floors. And she's like, "Oh, this is to help you." And she's like, "Wow, thanks, Blanche." So kind.
Totally 100%. Okay, let me find Bessie. Bessie gets Grace Poole.
Nice. I feel like anybody would ask Jane, like, to be like, "What does Grace want?" And she'd be like, "Gin, just get her a bottle of gin." And she's like,
I was thinking.
yeah, she's like, "Okay, yeah." So I think she gets her like a bottle of gin and then maybe like 2 shot glasses. And she's like, "Let's open it up right now. You and me, let's do a shot." Who wants shots, everybody? And Grace is like, "Fuck yeah, man. It's party time."
And then they just trade horror stories about their work situations where Grace is like, "Oh my God." So it's like, sometimes after a day of working with a mad woman who tries to bite me all the time, I want a little drink at the end of the day. And always, "Grace, you can't leave the keys within the reach of Bertha. She gets out and tries to burn the house down." It's like, come on.
She's like, "Look, she's gotten out and she set fires a couple of times. Like, that's, at least it's not 100 times, right? No one's died yet. So
Yeah.
I think I'm doing my job, okay?"
And then Bessie's like, "I know. It's like so unreasonable, the expectations our bosses have for us. Tie a little girl up in a room with a ghost." Ugh.
Jesus, yeah. Like, I have to deal with children that aren't my own, and I give them a little bit of like kindness, and then all they want is more. And I'm like, Jesus, like, I have jobs to do, okay? Yeah, they're the ones just getting drunk and gossiping.
Yes, absolutely. Like, just hot goss back and forth over there.
I think John Reed tries to come over and be like, "Hey, can I have some?" And she's like, "Fuck off, John." She's like, "I don't work for you anymore. You can get out of here."
Yes, absolutely. I think a couple of people tried to hang out with them and like they just were really uncomfortable because Grace and Bessie became best friends.
Yes. And they're very instantly like talking about very specific things and people can't join in their convos. So like, you know what, never mind. I'm going to go watch Rochester
100%.
dress up as something else now. This show is ongoing.
And then we finish out our list with Grace picking Blanche.
Amazing. Okay, so great. I think I led with the last one. So you take the lead. Yeah.
I think Grace, all she knows about Blanche is that she's a fancy lady and is trying to marry Rochester, tried to marry Rochester, but she knows it doesn't work out. And she kind of is like, "I get it. Like, you're just trying to be out here in the world. Mm-hmm. You're just trying to marry a rich man. Honestly, good for you." So she ends up she's watched her out of the window with Bertha. Like, that's how she knows about Blanche. So she gets her maybe a second riding hat or something to do with horses, because all she ever sees her do is riding horses and being fancy. And so she gets a horse brooch or a second set of riding gloves that go with the other riding outfit that Blanche has or something like that.
If it's a modern day setting, I feel like it would be a little handout card that's like 1 month's free subscription to Tinder. And she's like, "You seem like you need this." Like, she's already drunk and she's like, "You're always trying to get a guy and it didn't work out with Rochester. So why don't you try this Tinder thing?"
Yeah. And all of the rich guys are on the premium Tinder. So you need the premium Tinder to get them, Blanche. That's the problem. You've been on regular Tinder with the rest of us.
Yeah. I spent 1 month's salary getting you this subscription, so you gotta get it in for my sake and send me all the good pictures.
Yeah, text me about the hot sex that you have later in a normal way.
Yeah, exactly. I think she's flustered, but then also later in the evening she's setting up her profile and taking a million selfies, being like, "Ooh, I look so cute."
Adele and her do a full-fledged photo shoot. Adele is her little photo assistant.
Cute. I love it. Oh my God. I think what I have loved about this game is not just the game itself, but kind of us talking through how all these characters are interacting throughout the evening. Very fun.
I think in classic Airbuds fashion, this was way longer than I thought it was going to be. And also, we had a bunch of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it too.
100%. So definitely there was a cute moment where Jane and Rochester got to step away for a bit, and he orchestrated everything so that there would be a mistletoe and they get to have a cute little kiss while the snow falls and everything.
And they're trying to be subtle about it, but Adele fully sees them and yells, "Gross!
Yeah.
They're kissing!"
And Rochester's like, "Get out of here, I'll send you back to Paris." She's like, "Don't tease." And he's like, "No, I didn't ruin the moment, I promise. Let's go back to smooching."
And then Adele cries and Jane leaves.
Yes, exactly. And he's like, "God damn it." She's like, "I have to go comfort our daughter because you yelled at her." Maybe also, wait, didn't we say that like Helen got Rochester? Maybe she also got him some like beeswax balm for his like stub because he has no hand.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. I think there is no singular canon to the day that we put together here, but I think it's just it's fun to imagine what these characters would interact like together and around each other, I thought. And so it's just a blast.
So good. I love it. This has been very fun. Thank you for setting these up, Lillian.
Thanks for playing with me and indulging me in my like random whims.
And if you all have been playing along at home and you had an amazing idea that we did not say out loud and you want to share it with us, please reach out to us on social. You can DM us your ideas, or maybe Lillian will make a post and you can share them there. We are at Airbuds. You can also send us your entire gift list for this fictional cast via email, airbuds@gmail.com.
And we hope that you all had a lovely Christmas if you celebrated yesterday, or I think Hanukkah's passed as well. But I know that oftentimes people are either traveling on this day or this week, or you're kind of having a nice little lazy week. I hope you had a lovely holiday and got to celebrate in whatever way makes sense for you, or maybe just had a little time off work. Maybe that might be nice as well. I know that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
And we will be back in the new year next week. We are going to be, so we originally were going to take the week off, and then Sam, Piper's fiance, actually had a suggestion for a very special little bonus episode that we're going to do, which is I'm finishing reading Piper's book. And so next week we are going to be talking about the book that Piper wrote called Dancing with the Dead, A Dance with the Dead. Did I get it right the second time?
Oh my gosh. It is called A Dance with the Dead.
Okay, good. Did you like the panicked look on my face?
Way to promote a story and say its name wrong first.
But I got it at the end. I got it the second time. I forgot to put this in. I didn't do notes for this episode. Usually I have the name in the notes. I got the name right, and I said your name correctly. I didn't mispronounce Piper Cleveland.
Amazing. Amazing. Yes. A Dance with the Dead. I'm very excited to hear Lillian's thoughts and to talk about this whole writing adventure with you guys.
Which I'm so excited to talk about that. We have a bunch of exciting things that we're going to be announcing early in the new year. So keep an eye on your feeds and our social for all of those. And in the meantime, Happy New Year. We had an absolute blast with you guys this year. This is actually our 50th episode of Airbuds.
Yay!
Which we have a very special 1-year anniversary episode coming up. So we didn't do anything special for this, but I cannot express how much you guys listening to this show and getting to make it for you guys has made this year special I know for sure for me, I believe for both of us.
100%.
And we're so grateful for you all.
Yes. It's been a wonderful surprise that I think what started as kind of like just sort of like a fun little idea turned into something that has become a big part of our lives. So thank you for helping that become true and for listening with us and joining us on this adventure. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
See you next time, next year. Happy Jane Eyre reading and watching.
Bye.
Bye.